It was awesome. I'm telling you, it was a great experience. I'm never going to forget it, and I'm never going to forget you. It's emotional for me, but it was magical for me. You saved my life. Not that I would have died right away, but I wouldn't have got back to who I am. I'm starting to feel like, I always tell everybody don't call me sensei anymore because I'm not teaching, but I'm starting to feel like, Sensei Jack, setting goals, actually doing stuff instead of talking about it. And I think anybody that's stuck in any way, physically or emotionally, should do ketamine.
Welcome to the My Self Wellness Podcast. I'm Charles Patty, the founder and CEO of My Self Wellness, along with my co-founder, Christina Thomas. 9 years ago, I began my journey to self-awareness and healing. Like many who have faced personal struggles, I felt lost and battled to find recovery. It wasn't until I discovered alternative healing methods that I began to see a real change in my life. This show will help you unlock your true potential through healthy lifestyle practices and transformations. Join us as we explore personal stories, expert advice, and practical tips to help you step into your true potential and level up. Welcome to the My Self Wellness Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the My Self Wellness Podcast. Today, we are here with my friend, Jack Morris. Jack is an amazing healer that does acupuncture. He's been a martial artist for over 30 years, and he also did treatments at the facility. So we're going to take a deep dive into all of this, and I hope all of you enjoy. So how's it going, Jack?
It's going great. I appreciate you having me here. I've been dying to be here, but I also wanted to wait, all the benefits that I got from your treatments. I wanted to show them instead of talk about them or whatever, and they're showing every day. So
listen, I bumped into Jack the other day at the nutrition shop, and I just looked at him and I was like, holy crap, man, you look incredible. And so it's really good to see you like this, man.
Thank you. It's been amazing. I've been through a lot of struggles.
Yeah.
And, I had the GBS, the Guillain-Barré syndrome, and was paralyzed from the neck down. And that really threw me for a loop. I had lots of health issues before, and that was probably the most shocking that I've had. And I came to you, did those treatments, and it changed my body, changed my life. And I'm going to tell you a little bit. So I've been up and down with the health issues. I've had long stints in there. I lost organs, things like that. But I always had the fight. I always fought back. And we're all fighters, right? You're a fighter. But there comes a time sometimes when you hit the mat and you just don't want to get up and get punched in the face anymore. And I developed this really contagious disease that nobody talks about, but most people have it. It's highly contagious. It's a good reason to watch who you're hanging around with, because you are who you hang around with. So I developed this when I got beat up with the Guillain-Barré. I got this disease called excusatitis, and it was horrible. It was, I sat on my couch. I treat people for depression all the time, but I never felt depression. And it's a whole different baby. And I could never understand why people wouldn't just get up and walk. Like, I used to tell my brother, he passed away at 45. I'm like, walk to the end of the driveway. You'll be fine and you'll feel better. And I sat on my recliner. Now, I fought to get out of the GBS, but we all get to a point where as long as we're making money, we're good.
Yeah.
So I got to the point where I was making money and said, I'm good here, which is totally unacceptable, right? It's not full recovery. So when I went into the hospital with the GBS, they ask you to set your goals. And of course, my first goal was I can feed myself and dress myself so my wife doesn't have to. And I'm going to walk out of here. And my OT told me, let's set a realistic goal. And I've been a goal setter my whole life. I was furious. I said, you know what realistic goals are? They're for people like you telling them their limitations. I'm going to hang with my original goal. And I'm the only person I know in the world that's ever walked out of a hospital with GBS. And I fought hard while I was there. You would have loved it. I made them put bands on my bed. They'd come in at 2 a.m. I'd be training, But when I got home and started working, I just kind of put that by the wayside and just wanted to catch up. I lost a year's worth of work, and but I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. And that's when I couldn't figure out how to start. And I came to myself wellness, and it was hard for me to go there because, and this is something I think everybody should know, is I'm a control freak. I didn't want to give up control. You know, I grew up in the 70s with 3 older brothers. I did a lot of LSD, had a bad trip, never touched it again, was scared to death to touch it this time. And I sent you a few patients, and they're the ones that inspired me to come. Because I believe the cool thing about ketamine is I could be doing my walk, but I always knew I was in that chair, and I knew I was safe. I think your nurse asked me why I do this, and I'd be like in another galaxy, and all I want to know is where's my wife? Because if I'm wherever my wife is home for me. So I'd be like, am I ever going to see my wife? And I'd do this, and I'd be in the chair, and then I'd shoot back out. It was awesome. So I had different experiences each time, as you know. I heard people cry and people release. I never had any of that. I just had all good, positive stuff. And the main thing, I think that one of the big things it did for me is I have really bad neuropathy from being paralyzed. And I think it was my 4th treatment. I couldn't walk on the floor at home without shoes on because I lost the pads and everything. So I always did my treatments on Friday. And Saturday, it was 3:30 in the afternoon, and I realized I didn't put my shoes on yet. I was literally walking around, and I couldn't walk outside because a little pee would make me jump through the roof. I thought a nail was going through me. And it was like 80% better, 90% better. And it was one of the times when I was, you know, how you're out there and then you're back in the chair. And then I was asking the universe, like, do you have any more messages? And I went back out and I had this vision, and it was bright colors behind it, but there was these black images, and there was this black goo dripping out the bottom. And the message I got is it's taken the negative energy out of my bone marrow, but I didn't know that, but that's the message I got. So I couldn't put it all together, and I was coming to see you for another treatment, and I stopped. I had a doctor's appointment, so I was reading a book, and I opened this book, and it was on bone density, and I'm getting chills saying this, and I opened the page, and it was the x-rays of bone density, and it was the same image I saw, you know, the time before.
Yeah.
And I saw this stuff dripping out of my bone marrow. It was crazy. And since then, it's never come back. I'm not 100%. I still have trouble feeling my toes, but I can walk better. You know, I couldn't walk up in the mountains. I could walk up a hill, but I couldn't walk down because I thought I would just fall. And now I can do that. So it was very profound, I mean, I saw those images. I'm like, that's what I saw.
That's incredible, man. I'd never heard that part of your story.
Yeah, I never told you that. I wanted to wait until we got here. I've been dying to tell you. It's been awesome. And yeah, so.
One thing I want to talk about is, listen, like what you talked about going into it though is something I hear from potential clients so many times, and I'd like to touch back on it.
Sure.
It's like, so listen, I took mushrooms 10 years ago, or I took LSD and I had this really bad trip and it was super uncomfortable, and like, I don't want to have a bad trip again. What would you describe in your words? Like, what was the feeling and what was the experience like when you did the ketamine treatments?
Well, like I told you, in the 70s, I did a lot of LSD.
Yeah.
And thought I tripped. And when I did my first ketamine treatment, which I have to say, I wanted to start with this, and you know this, and I'm not blowing smoke, but your staff and you helped me through everything you said to me before, and everything your nurse, I don't remember your nurse's name that comes in and sits with you. The first treatment, I used everything you said. You know, realized I wasn't breathing. I go back to the breath, everything. Your face popped up in front of me and got me through it. But I think that what got me over that was that you can see stuff from a third party. And one of my patients came to me, and I was up in North Carolina. She called me. She just finished her last treatment. And I told her my concerns about being scared. I had a bad trip, and I don't want to do that. And I don't want to release control. And that's the whole key, is to release and give in. And she said, Jack, I always knew I was in that chair the whole time. And at the same time, I was a blade of grass. And I was like, okay. And I think I called you from North Carolina and said, I need to come in. I was ready. It was the third patient, I think, that I sent you that told me, I feel comfortable. And then your guys' presentation, I was nervous. I guess everybody's a little nervous, but I was, because I'm a control freak. I want to be in control. And you guys guided me through, and my first treatment, it was the most visual thing I ever saw. Now, I heard, a lot of people see Jesus or they're, somebody. I never saw a face, but I got lots of messages, which sometimes take days to decipher. I'm not a big journaler, but I think everybody should. But, sometimes I'd get done and it would take me a couple of days to figure out what the message is. I was always looking for a message, and I was looking out there, and then your nurse goes like, there's nothing out there for you. It's all inside. And once I stopped that, looking for something, and actually, she would always ask me, what's your intention today? My intention is the medicine gives me whatever I need. No expectation of anything.
Yeah.
And, the way you guys start people with the half dose was magical for me. Like, it really was. But it was the most visual thing I've ever saw. I don't think I ever tripped back in the 70s compared to this.
I remember you saying that when you came out of your first treatment. You were like, okay, wow, that was incredible. I've never experienced something like that before on other medicine.
I mean, I used to laugh and all that, but I never had like psychedelic stuff like that. And I didn't have any everything was good. And when I'm adrenaline junkie. I love extremes. And when I walked out, in my mind, I was never coming back. And as I'm figuring this stuff out in 2 days, I'm like, I wonder if they'll take me early for my next one. I didn't want to wait till Friday.
Yeah.
And, I would highly recommend almost anybody to do it, because, I always say one of my favorite sayings is, we all have issues in our tissues, So a lot of people go, oh, I don't have anything. And I get them on my table, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, well, I got this, or well, I got this, or oh, my mom passed away. I haven't been the same. We put stuff together, women with their menstrual issues. Usually if it goes wacko, it's some type of trauma or event or something, either physical or mental. But it was amazing.
I wanna get into your issues are in your tissues, and you're a healer. Like like this is something you say, and you how did you get into what you're doing? Where did that passion kind of spark from? For what transpired into that?
Well, my mom passed away at 48, and I was 21. And I moved to Gainesville, Florida, because I wanted to get my black belt. And my wife was living with this awesome karate teacher at the time. And I came down, and I never saw anybody kick. I was a kicker, and I was, could do the splits and all that stuff. But this guy, he was a little 140-pound guy. He's the best kicker I've ever seen. So I came down to help my brother pick out a karate school. He said, I found this place. I'm like, don't join. I drove down from New Jersey. When they took a break, he said, what do you think? I go, I think I'm going to go home and get my stuff and be back in like 3 days. I'm moving here. And it was just a ride from there. So I did Japanese karate and jiu-jitsu. And I did a healing. I did reflexology. I was training like a professional athlete at the time. I had some money from my mom's death, and all I did was train for a year and a half when I first got there. And So I used to go to massage school, like it was free, like they needed people. Sometimes I get 2 massages a day, and they love me because I've beaten myself to death. And but she talked me into doing a reflexology course, and when we got done, she's like, "You're a healer," and I was like, "I like to kick people in the face, that's my favorite thing." But then I came down to Naples, moved to. Me and Pam hooked up. Those guys split, and that's a whole story in itself. But we came down here and started teaching. We taught like in 7 different places. My wife was my first karate teacher because when I moved to Gainesville that month, she got her black belt. So I had 6.5 years experience, but I started from the beginning. And then, so we came down here, started that. My wife didn't want to teach karate. She did it while she was in college. It was fun. I knew when I was 15, I was going to be a karate teacher. So I opened a little school, like we call it the Closet Dojo because it's so small compared to my last one. And I was getting ready to teach a noon class, and the mailman came by and gave me stuff. And there was somebody starting an acupuncture school in Naples. Of course, I was young, so I stood up and went and called. I didn't dust around it for a month, but I went and I met him at a restaurant. 15 minutes later, I had somebody teach my noon class, called my wife and said, I want to do this. And I jumped right into acupuncture school. So I did it for years as a vocation hobby. I always had a treatment room in my karate schools. Then when I had some health issues, I couldn't do it the way I wanted to. And I told my wife I was going to do it as long as it was fun. Wasn't fun anymore. I bailed, went next door, started my clinic. In 3 months, I was full. I've never advertised, and I've been full ever since. So it was just, I'm doing things I never imagined doing. I'm just having so much fun, and people come and they all feel better. I believe I get the best results in town. I'm the least expensive, but I don't think I'm smarter than the other acupuncturists, but I have an awesome Japanese style that's very simple. I use like 8 needles mostly for each treatment instead of 50 or whatever. And everybody walks out. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Well, you see some of the stuff I do.
Yeah.
But so I ended up just wanting to heal people, and it just kept growing. It was crazy. When you're in the right place, doing the right stuff, the universe just starts throwing stuff at you.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I don't even know how I heal people. Like, I'm not sure what to do and why I'm treating them. I get this message and they walk out happy.
I love how the universe ends up working out too. Cause like I went to school with Jack's daughter when I was a kid.
Yep.
And so we like kind of knew each other from back when I was really young. And then all of a sudden it's like the universe, we went our directions, we did our things. And then like, I got into the healing space too. And then it brought us back together. And then,
absolutely,
now we get to like kind of synergistically do what we're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, you've helped my patients. And as soon as I saw what you were doing, I came and did the tour. There was no pressure. You never called me and said, hey, whatever. And then when I called you, go, I knew you were going to call. And, I had to do it my own time.
Yeah.
When I was ready. I wasn't going in until I was ready.
I think that's one of the most important things for like people on their healing journey as well, though. It's like, it's the intention. It's like, you got to be ready. It's like, you can't force a process. And I think that a lot of times when I was first getting into it, I might've fell victim to it too a little bit, where I was like, things work so well and you want to help people so badly. And you just like, listen, I got this thing. It works. But that actually ends up pushing people away. So it's like you plant the little seeds and you just kind of like let them grow and germinate. Absolutely. Or whatever. And you walk off and you do your thing. And then it ends up growing into what it's going to.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I started, if I saw you and you had a pulse, I was going to treat you. I would not leave you alone until you got on my table. And now people are like, I'm not sure. I go, oh, here's my card. See,
yeah, I'm
there if you need me. And, if you push people, they pull. We know that from martial arts, right? So, it's just magical. I can't tell you. So one of the things I wanted to say is that, my mom died young, but before that, she died twice on the operating table. She didn't handle anesthesia well. But she told me when I was 17, and people go, a mother shouldn't tell her kid that. But she died. She told me she died and went to heaven. She said, I can't tell you what it looks like or anything, but it was awesome. And I did not want to come back. She had 4 boys that were young. I was probably like 5. And they were telling her, you got to go back. And she's like, I don't want to go back. And she's like, I was being hugged. And I think it was my 3rd treatment. We all feel love, right? But you know, God's love and the universe. I felt this love that I think it really helped my mom when she was sick, because she knew because she was there. It helped her, get through that, because I know when my body's done, my spirit's going somewhere. And I just felt my message that day was God hugged me. The feeling inside was just awesome. Like, instead of like all the times I was looking for my wife, this time I was like, okay, if I'm here, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I'll see her later, And that was the only time ever it's been like that. So
That's one thing that psychedelic therapy did for me as well. I had this crippling fear of death because my dad died when I was a kid, and it was debilitating. I would like get up in the morning in my like teen years and stuff, and the first thing that I would do is be like, am I going to die today? Like, it was just like awful, and it was so consuming. And once I experienced like oneness and the feeling and like the oneness of God, basically, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I don't have to be scared anymore. And that's one of the most liberating things that ever happened to me, because it's why I charge towards my dreams so fiercely. I mean, like, there's no resistance. I don't outthink myself of anything from a place of fear, because that was the debilitating fear that I had for so many years. Was like, oh my gosh, is this going to kill me? Oh my gosh, am I going to die? And once you realize that death is actually an illusion, like it's just a energetic shift in the energy that you are, it's like, oh, okay, I can do anything then, and just completely go after it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of had an experience like that, and it's hard for me to explain how they come together, but I was 5 years old and I was sitting on the front porch of my house. I had no idea who Jesus was, right? Like, I went to my little Sunday school, and I looked up and I saw Jesus, not a shadow or anything, as plain as I'm seeing you. And for some reason, at 5 years old, I started thinking about death, and that, my parents are just going to go to work and my friends are just going to go back to school, and I'm not going to be here. So most of my life, when I asked my wife to marry me, I had to ask 3 times. I told her, but part of the deal is I'm going to die young, because I never thought I would live to be 20. That's why I was a wild man, because I was like, I didn't plan for the future, learn how to do the checkbook thing, or my dad didn't set goals. I knew I wasn't going to make it. Positive. And, I was 5 years old with a knot in my stomach thinking about death. That was weird. Now, I didn't know what it was then, but I think it's pretty weird to be thinking about that. And my wife always, when I mentioned, she's like, shut up, you're going to outlive me, and she's known her whole life she's going to live to be 100. But yeah, and I'm still here, and I've been fighting. I've had the same thing my mom had. I lost my large intestine, all that stuff, and came close to death and been there, many times, walking out of the hospital at 140 pounds. But I believe that if, I was on the internet one day and I was going, man, I'm going through hell. And one of my good buddies says, if you're going through hell, just keep going. And it was like, sometimes we need this. And we talk about this, the people that, the naysayers and all that. Like, you got to have your own journey, and you got to hang around with people that are going to inspire you and push you, instead of, when we're doing great things, we always have people telling us we can't do it, which makes me want to do it more. I'm like, if you want something done, just tell me I can't do it, and it's going to get done.
Yeah.
Listen, when I made it through opiate addiction, I was like, I can do anything. Cause that was my hell. It was literally living in my own personal hell every single day.
And when I made it through the final withdrawals of the last time that I was hooked on it, and I was just like, if you can make it through that, you can literally make it through anything. And there's been days where like I didn't, like everybody gets to see all the cool stuff. They didn't see all of the like, you know, tears on the way to work and like, is this going to work? I know it's going to work. I just got to keep going. But like everything's looking like it's not going to work. And it's just like, okay, well, if I can make it through opiate addiction, I can make it through anything.
And that's the truth. Like, you know, I've always had an addictive personality. You know, I grew up in a house full of heroin addicts in the 70s, you know, so I never did that because I saw what it does to you. But I did the synthetic version, you know, and you know, because when I had my abdominal surgeries, I got hooked on them. You know, I always thought I wouldn't, but I did, and I, you know, did the whole. You know what happens with that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's crazy. It's just getting through.
I was at dinner with a Swami the other night, and he was basically telling me like in his life now, if things kind of like make him feel uncomfortable or if it's stressing him out, he's just like, all right, I don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
But see, the thing is, and like I'm actually starting to get that more of that mentality now. But for a long time over the last half decade, I was like, I almost wanted to be as uncomfortable as I could possibly be the entire time, just because I knew that if I was really uncomfortable, I was growing. Yeah. And I think that that's
the only time we grow is
there's no growth in the comfort zone, right?
Exactly.
That whole cliche saying, but it's very true. And I don't know, it's like I almost felt like if I wasn't uncomfortable, I wasn't accomplishing things or I wasn't growing as much as I could. And now I'm finally, I think, stepping into the place where it's like, all right, I don't think I need to be as uncomfortable as I've been for so many years now. And now I can actually like keep on pushing forward with the level of discipline that I operate with, but actually not like enjoy it and not feel that discomfort all of the time, you know?
Yeah, it's called momentum too. And you know, wisdom is a, like for me, I say I don't like anything about getting old, right? Your hair turns gray, falls out, sticks to your back. I was fat, out of shape. But having wisdom, like I used to say I didn't care what people thought, but now I don't. And drama, I really don't have time for it. Like
energy's contagious, man.
It is. It's just like I don't like tell people. I'm out. Like,
yeah,
you know, I just don't do it. It doesn't. There's nothing there for you. You know,
that's a level of freedom I think that psychedelic medicines helped me achieve. Where I always, like you, I was like, oh, I don't care what people think about me, but in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, I care, you know. But like, I actually really don't now. Like, I mean, I'm like, maybe like I want to make sure that people see the level of discipline so I can inspire and I'm not just full of crap and I'm actually walking the walk kind of thing, because I want to be that beacon of light for other people. But I'm not doing it. When I started this, I was operating on trauma. And so it's like, I didn't feel like I was enough. I was less than, and I had to seek everybody's approval and do this to prove to everybody that I could change my life and I could actually accomplish it. And it's like, it's not about that anymore for me now. I actually stepped into the place where I really do know my worth and I know what I'm like accomplishing and I'm good with that. And now it's really like, I just want to see how far I can take it. It's like for me, like I want to do this for me.
Absolutely.
And it's not from a self-loathing place anymore. It's like, oh, I love the crap out of myself now. And I love me so much. I'm going to see like what I can do to take me to the next level and the next level and the next level. Cause it just keeps on gradually getting better and better. I mean, listen, man, like you know, like you're a great man and healer. And like, but like from when we first started the ketamine journey with you to the person that I'm looking at right now. And I know that was just one puzzle piece in the actual equation.
Absolutely.
But like, you look incredible, man. You look like a completely different person that when
I always knew what to do, but I didn't have the motivation. I think the biggest thing the ketamine did is help my neuropathy and got me unstuck. You cured my excusatitis. I know what to do. And now I'm doing more than I, did before, and I'm learning more and, hanging with Gary and them and doing that whole journey. But yeah, the other things, I didn't lose weight from the ketamine. I lose weight because you got rid of my excusatitis. So instead of talking about going to the gym, I actually show up, and I go outside every morning, whether I feel like it or not, and get 30 minutes of sun and, do my stuff. And I'm eating right and not eating garbage and thinking, oh, it's okay. I'm not going to get in shape. I really understand people that are really big, and I was never comfortable when I was fat. Fat is not my thing. The only time I was comfortable is laying in bed naked. I put on a pair of pants and I'm miserable. Sitting in a airplane seat, I'm miserable. And it wasn't acceptable for me because, I've been in shape my whole life. And, but I wanted to tell you also that since the ketamine, we have to do our own thing, but I got behind the 8 ball. So I was doing medicines I swore I would never do. I was paralyzed. I couldn't check medicine. Like, I used to be in the hospital and they'd say, the doctor prescribed this. I go, come back in 20 minutes. I'll tell you whether I'm going to take it. But so I ended up with all this stuff. Since then, I've been drinking, I think, since I was 15. October was a year, not one sip. And I knew that was true too. I wrote some notes, but I don't want to look at them. But I think it was my 5th one. When I got done, I've never said I'm going to quit. I believe when you say you're going to quit and you don't quit, it just lowers your self-esteem.
Yeah.
And people just beat themselves up, and then it makes them drink more, do more drugs because they don't feel worthy. When I got done, I told my wife, I go, I'm done. I'm like, I just felt it. So I would have like a glass of wine, and I was up in the mountains in Vermont watching the leaves change. And I just told my wife, I go, this is my last glass of wine. And she's like, for real? I go, forever. Because I thought, I had all the excuses. When I get old, I want to have a cocktail on my back porch with my wife and then go to bed and all that. And why would I do that?
Yeah.
We spend the whole day taking care of ourselves, eating right, going to the gym, hugging your kids, doing all this stuff. And then you stop and you drink alcohol, which is highly toxic poison.
It's poison.
It's 100%. And there's so much medicine out there that's good for you, that's healthy. It's changed my life. I mean, people, a lot of people don't even know I quit drinking because I don't go around and go, I don't drink, you drink, that type of thing. I'm on my own journey.
I'm the same way where listen, I talk shit about alcohol. Sorry. I talk crap about alcohol, but not to make people feel badly
Absolutely.
about it. It's just poison, and it ruined my life for a lot of years. I can't ever be like, oh man, I made the best decision when I was drunk. You know what I'm saying? And it's it usually ended up with a big pile of white powder in front of me by the end of the night. The thing is that it's in about a month, it'll be almost 6 years since I've had a sip of alcohol, right?
Awesome.
I was at a concert with one of my buddies and his wife, and Christina and some other friends of ours just a couple nights ago. And it was the concert was in concert hall at a pub. And he was like, do you ever still think about drinking? Does it ever I'm like, it's not a blip on my radar, dude. And it's not because it's because I feel so good when I don't drink. And I remember all of the awful things that came with alcohol. And it's just like you said, if I spend so much time doing everything to make me such a healthy version of myself, why would I want to throw poison into the equation?
You ruin your whole day's work. You
Uh-huh.
work hard all day and then you ruin it.
It's the opposite of a protein shake.
Exactly.
It dehydrates you. It's just it's not good for you at the end of the day. And if I'm on this continuous trajectory of making myself a better person, then that's taking 2 steps back for me.
Absolutely. my sensei, where I got my first black belt, he told me, he goes, Jack, and I was super strict. You know, my mom just died. I was a vegan. And he goes, I don't understand. Everything you do for health. And then you drink so much. And, you know, I had the lies. Oh, well, I sweat it out and all this. And he I don't know if he had a PhD, but he had a degree in nutrition. And he told me, which I didn't listen, 1 ounce of alcohol, it takes 4 days for your liver to normalize. So people that go, oh, I just have a couple glasses of wine, which, you know, when I do my intake sheet, if they say they have 8 glasses of wine, that means they have 16 or 32.
For sure.
Because they all lie.
100%.
So, yeah, it's done. I'm over it. Like,
so how do you feel now though, man? Like, listen, like, because like you probably weren't like drinking excessively when you were drinking.
I consume a lot of alcohol, but I just wasn't, I never get drunk because being a martial artist, I want to be ready to go. Right.
Yeah.
So, but I could drink Tervis tumblers of straight vodka for 7 hours. Nobody's ever seen me stumble or slur a word.
Really?
And I don't like the feeling. So when I start getting a little woozy, I just slow down.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a good thing, but it's actually, I wish I would have got drunk real fast so I didn't consume so much alcohol.
Okay. How do you feel since you quit a year ago?
Well, all my diseases were basically dealt with inflammation, and you can't put anything more yang or inflammatory in your body than alcohol. I mean, like, I used to say alcohol was the most yang substance you could put in your body. And then they came out with these, you know, exciting new drugs like crack cocaine. Crack cocaine passes it. It's like, it's so yang, it's instant. It's, you know, everything's out. Like, but alcohol is all inflammatory. You might as well take, you know, like people take anti-inflammatories. It's like taking inflammatory pills. Like you're trying to inflame your body.
Yeah.
And it affects everything. You know, before I got serious in the last 6 months and stepped it up, nobody knew, but I had these attacks that nobody could figure out, natural healers. And if I polished my wife's windshield, any motion, or use a handsaw for cut 4 limbs off a tree, I'd be like this for 3 days. I'd be swollen, and it was just horrible. I couldn't do anything. It wasn't an excuse. When I would work out, I would go do so little, I'd feel nothing. The next day, I'd do 2 more reps. I'd be crippled for 4 days. Now I'm actually pulling weight. I'm pushing weight, like, and gaining, you know, I had 2 diseases that both of them ate 40 to 50 pounds of muscle off me. The first time when I had the ulcerative colitis, I lost 50 pounds of muscle in 10 days. It ate all the pads off my hands. I couldn't stand on my feet in my shoes because it was just pure bone. And, you know, you get rid of that. Like, it's all gone. It's like, I'm actually pulling and gaining muscle at 66 and doing it naturally is hard. It's not like I just need to tone up, right? So people don't realize that people that sit, I call them Netflickers. If you sit for 48 hours, your muscles start to atrophy. And the first muscle it takes, the body just naturally does this, is your quadriceps. And then you lose stability. For the elderly people, it's horrible. The worst thing you can do is fall when you get older. And yeah, it's crazy. But I'm just, you know, I'm building muscle. I'm starting to see muscle. I used to, you know, when I came to you, I could make a muscle and it wouldn't move at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'd literally try and squeeze it and it would just hang.
Yeah.
I had no muscle tone, no fiber, no electrical impulses going through there. And now I'm literally, like, back is my favorite back and buys are my favorite. I love pulling exercises.
Yeah.
And now I'm pulling some weight and I'm scared to death the next morning and I'm like not even sore.
I love it.
I mean, I get the good sore, like, you know,
Yeah.
the muscle sore instead of the joints.
Yeah.
You know? So it's magical. I'm telling you, it's changed my life. And you knew it was gonna, and I thought it would help, but I had no idea where I was gonna go. And I really think, like, I thought I was done. Like, I was just healing people. And people go, why do you work so much? Because then I could concentrate on everybody else's stuff and I don't have to concentrate on my own.
Yep.
When my wife says we have a 3-day week and I'm like, can I work anyway? Because when I get home and if I'm doing nothing, I beat myself up.
Yep.
I always say, like, I would never let anybody talk to me the way I talk to myself.
Yeah.
I'd pop you in the nose. You know what I mean? And now I'm not saying that stuff to myself anymore. Everything's positive, you know?
I feel like a lot of people and like we'll take this martyr role where it's like, okay, I can't fix myself, I can't heal myself, but I know I'm a good healer or I can help people, so I'm just going to put all of my energy on everybody else. And I keep on telling people one of my something that shifted with me is one of the most selfless acts that you can perform is to be selfish enough to actually take care of yourself.
I love that. Never heard that.
Because as long as I'm doing that and I put myself first in that aspect, now my cup is full and now I can really help people.
Absolutely.
And give them all of that energy that they need.
A big thing for me was one thing I never was and never wanted to be, I was scared to death to be, is a hypocrite.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there telling people how to lose weight while I'm 50 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
You know, I lost 50 pounds in the last 3 months.
Well, people listen to you more too, though. So it's like,
They do.
Listen, if you're a personal trainer and you're not in great shape, am I going to really take you seriously?
Absolutely.
Probably not as much. You're your own walking billboard, especially within the healing or health and wellness space. And so it's like, if you really want to make that kind of impact in people's lives and you want them to follow your direction, it's not monkey say, monkey listen to, it's right. Monkey see, monkey do. Yep. And so it's like, even with my son, it's like, I can't expect my son to follow my direction because I'm verbally telling him something. He's not going to listen to what I'm saying. He's going to do what I do.
And he's watching more than you know.
100%, man.
No doubt. It's the way it goes. Yeah. It's a journey. I love it. It's just, I'm feeling better than I ever was. I really think, I don't even know where I'm going to go. Like, I think I can work out again. Oh, absolutely.
You're going up, man.
I have no idea like what's going to happen with me, but I just know that it's all good.
Yeah.
And, you know, balance is what we look for. Like, everybody calls me a healer, and I guess in those terms somewhat, but I don't heal a thing. Like, the body heals itself, you know? And I always say, if you just got out of the way and quit messing it up, it would just heal.
It's amazing. It's amazing what happens when we take all of the bad things out of the equation. The body has this amazing, miraculous healing ability, but it can't get there when we're pumping ourselves full of toxins and inflammatories and all of these
or
things.
Sitting still. You know, that was my big thing. You know, the big thing I do, people ask me, how can you take away pain in one treatment? I do it all the time. I go to people's houses and they can't lift their head off the floor. And in 20 minutes, I get them walking around, touching their toes, reaching for the ceiling. But I don't heal anybody. I just remind the body what it's supposed to do. But pain is a stagnation of energy. Depression is a stagnation of energy. I do some bloodletting, which people don't like that word, but I went down, I was following this guy on Facebook, which, you know, everybody hates Facebook, but there's so much good stuff there. Just keep your page real. Like, I tell him the 3 dots up there, get rid of the negative stuff. And I was following this guy. I consider him my bloodletting teacher. And I was watching. I don't jump on board in anything. Like, I never jump into anything. I watch, like I did with you. And, yeah, it was crazy. I just lost my train of thought. Thinking of too many things. I lost it.
It's okay. Yeah. One thing I really like that you said, and it resonates with me, is that this pain is a stagnation of energy.
It is.
And like, one thing that Dr. Ferber talks about all the time is that ketamine unblocks our own loving, healing energy from within us, and it allows it to flow again. And I think that when we're talking about depression or even physical pain or anything, once we unblock that loving energy from within us, it really manifests into the depression going out of the equation, the removal of physical pain. I mean, listen, another thing I want to talk about real quickly before we close it out is that Brian Johnson, the guy who's like says you're going to live forever, I'm going to live till 200 years old or whatever, right? He's proving now that like psychedelic medicines are actually increasing people's lifespans. And so it's like, go ahead. No,
It increased. I could tell you it's going to increase mine.
100%. I mean, because, well, listen, if I'm in a place of dis-ease, then disease is going to manifest within me. And so it's like, if I go in and I do the healing work from within me, my body is going to be in a better place. My blood pressure is going to go down. You have no idea how many people we've got off their blood pressure medications through the course of ketamine therapy, just because they didn't realize how much stress they were under, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get it. It's just like the meds, you know, I think the meds are good if you get behind the 8 ball. And there's some meds that, you know, I'm not 100% anti-medication.
Me either.
There's some, you know, if you're dying of an infection, the antibiotics are good.
100%.
You shouldn't take them if you have the sniffles,
Yeah.
but they have their place, you know, just like our medicine here, Western medicine. If you get in a car accident, you're happy you're here.
Yeah.
Our trauma medicine's awesome. We just don't practice preventative medicine.
Listen, I had surgery and they gave me fentanyl right after I came out of surgery. And I was very happy for it because I was in a lot of pain.
Exactly.
Now, like when I was recreationally abusing heroin and fentanyl on the street, that definitely wasn't the right way to be using it. But I'm very happy that they have it. So like, I'm not anti anything. I'm a fan of anything that works. I think there's a time and a place for everything, as long as you're using it appropriately.
Absolutely.
You know?
And nobody reads those doctors' inserts, but if you do, all the opiates say short-term use only, which is 30 days.
For sure.
30 days, you should be done, you know?
Yeah.
And some people are smarter. In North Carolina, one of my jiu-jitsu instructors cut his hand almost off with a chainsaw. And when he left, they gave him 2 pills. And he's like, what's this? And they're like, that's your painkiller. He's like, this won't get me home. He's like, you cut your hand with a chainsaw. If you try to make it not hurt with pain medicine, you're going to be an addict when you're done. You cut your hand with a chainsaw, it's going to hurt. Deal with it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I love that. You know, it's like you try to take that pain away of something. It's obvious that it's supposed to hurt if you cut yourself. So that's God.
So if there was somebody out there watching this podcast and they were thinking about doing ketamine therapy, but they were on the fence, what would you say to that person?
Well, almost every day I tell somebody, call My Self Wellness, talk to Charles, and do the tour. When you see the clinic, which is like being in an awesome home, you know, it's almost like I feel like you let me in your house, you know, but there's no pressure. You just go there and you'll get educated. And the questions they keep asking me, I go, Charles can answer a lot better than me. So just go do the tour. You know me, I did the tour and it took a year to get in.
Yeah.
With no pressure. But when I called you, I was ready and you knew it. And you're like, come on in, we're going to do this thing.
Yeah.
And you took care of me. Like I felt like I was being nurtured. Like it was awesome. I'm telling you, it was a great experience. I'm never going to forget it. And I'm never going to forget you. Like that it's emotional for me, but it was magical for me. You saved my life. Like, not that I would have died right away, but I wouldn't have got back like to who I am. I'm starting to feel like, you know, I always tell everybody don't call me sensei anymore because I'm not teaching, but I'm starting to feel like old Sensei Jack, you know, setting goals, actually doing stuff, you know, instead of talking about it. I got so tired of telling myself, well, I used to be able to do that. I used to do that. I got tired. I'm sure everybody else is tired of it because I'm tired of it. So that sale has shipped. I'm done with that. And I think anybody that's stuck in any way, physically or emotionally, should do ketamine. I think it's a safe way. I love the clinical atmosphere. Like, you know, I always felt good. And you guys worked with me. Like the amazing part was the way you helped with the doses. You know, I got to the point where I wasn't remembering anything and you're like, oh, we did a little too much. And then you backed off. And then I said, I liked it the first time, you know, half and half. And you just work, you know. One of my patients called me, like all my patients I sent to you call me at one time and they're like, they didn't do this or I'm not feeling it. I go, it's a service industry. Tell Charles he's going to fix it. But everyone was happy when they were done. I don't have one person that wasn't happy. And same with me. I just did what you said. Like, I told you what was happening. You talked with your nurse or whatever. You guys came back. You go, we got a game plan. Boom. And it's in. And it worked. Everyone was awesome.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Jack.
I appreciate you, Charles.
Well,
and your wife too. I know you're always up front, but nothing happens without our wives.
she's the real backbone and brains of the operation.
Yeah.
I just
Same
talk
with my
well.
wife. She always was. I was always up front, and she likes to be in the back. So, but nothing would have happened without my wife.
I feel you there, brother.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, and thank you for being transparent and sharing your story, man.
You got it. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the My Self Wellness Podcast. And just remember, nobody's told you that they love you lately. We do.